Sometimes, a single question can break the walls someone has built around their pain. This is one of those stories that will stay in your heart long after it ends. And if you believe the world still has good people left, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories, because today, you're about to witness what true kindness looks like. It was a rainy Tuesday morning when Jack pulled his old van into the narrow driveway of a worn-down single-story house. He'd been called for a plumbing repair, something about a leaking pipe under the kitchen sink. Jack had been a plumber for over 20 years, and he'd seen all sorts of homes and people, but the moment the front door opened, something about the woman standing there made him pause. She was in her early 30s, with tired eyes and hair that looked like it hadn't been brushed properly in days. Her clothes were clean but wrinkled, and her voice was soft, almost apologetic, as she said, "Come in, the kitchen's this way." Jack followed her inside. The place was small but neat, except for a pile of unopened mail on the counter and a faint smell of dampness in the air. She pointed to the sink, explaining that water had been pooling beneath the cabinet. He nodded, set down his toolbox, and crouched to check the pipes. For a while, the only sounds were the metallic clink of his tools and the distant ticking of an old wall clock. But when Jack glanced up to ask her something about the water shut-off valve, he noticed her eyes. They were red. Puffy. Like she'd been crying for hours. "You okay, ma'am?" he asked gently. She stiffened, forcing a quick smile. "I'm fine." Jack studied her face for a second, then tilted his head slightly. "Then why are your eyes swollen from crying?" The words hung in the air. Her smile vanished instantly, and for a moment she looked like she might deny it again. But instead, her lips trembled, and tears began spilling over. She turned away quickly, covering her mouth with her hand. Jack put down his wrench and stood. I'm sorry," she said shakily, wiping at her face. It's been a hard week." Without another word, she gestured for him to follow her, walking down a short hallway to a small bedroom. Jack stepped inside and froze. In the middle of the bed lay a little boy, no older than 4. His skin was pale, his lips slightly cracked. He was breathing, but it was shallow and weak. A small blanket covered him, but his tiny hands clutched it tightly like he was cold. "This is my son, Evan," she whispered. He's been sick for weeks. The fever won't go away, and he can't keep any food down. I took him to the clinic once, but they said he needs more tests, maybe even hospital care. I don't have the money for it." Her voice cracked. "I've been working 2 part-time jobs, but every dollar goes to rent and food. I was saving for his treatment, but then the pipe started leaking, and I thought if I ignored it, the damage would get worse and..." She covered her face again, sobbing. "I'm sorry, you didn't come here to hear all this." Jack felt something twist inside his chest. He wasn't a rich man by any means, but looking at that boy's frail little body, he knew exactly what he had to do. "Ma'am," he said firmly, "forget the sink for now. We need to get him to the hospital. Right now." Her eyes widened. "But I can't pay." "I didn't ask if you could pay," Jack interrupted. "Come on, grab what you need." Within minutes, Jack had carried the boy gently to his van, wrapping him in an extra jacket from the back seat. The rain outside had picked up, but Jack didn't care. He drove fast, glancing in the rearview mirror every few seconds to check on the boy. His mother sat beside him, holding Evan close, whispering prayers under her breath. By the time they reached the hospital, nurses were already rushing forward with a gurney. Jack explained the symptoms quickly, watching as they wheeled the boy into an exam room. The mother followed, but before she disappeared behind the curtain, she looked back at Jack with tear-filled eyes. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. Jack gave her a small, reassuring smile. "Because if it were my child lying there, I'd want someone to do the same." The hospital smelled of disinfectant and worry. Jack sat in the waiting room, tapping his knee nervously. He could have left after dropping them off, but something in him refused. Hours passed before the mother came back out. Her eyes were still red, but this time they shone with something different. Hope. They said you got him here just in time, she said, voice trembling. It's a severe infection. If we had waited even another day, it could have been. She swallowed hard. But they've started treatment, and they think he's going to recover. She clasped her hands together. Jack, I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to, he replied simply. But the bill, she began. Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out his worn leather wallet. It's covered. Don't worry about it. Her eyes widened. You can't, that's too much. It's not too much if it means your little boy gets to grow up, Jack said. I've been where you are. When my wife passed years ago, it was just me and my daughter. Times were hard. And once, a stranger helped me when I didn't have a dime to my name. I promised myself I'd pass that kindness on when I could. Tears streamed down her face again, but this time they weren't from hopelessness. She stepped forward and hugged him tightly. You're a blessing, Jack. You have no idea what you've done for us. Jack smiled faintly. Maybe someday, when you meet someone who needs help, you'll remember this moment. And you'll do the same. Over the next week, Jack visited the hospital every other day, bringing small toys and snacks for Evan as he recovered. By the time the boy was discharged, his cheeks had regained color, and his laugh echoed down the hall. On the day they left, the mother invited Jack back to fix the sink, this time insisting on paying him. But when he finished the job, she placed the money in his hand and whispered, I know you won't take it for the hospital, but this is for your time. And for not letting me go through this alone. Jack took it reluctantly, but before he left, he knelt beside Evan and ruffled his hair. You be strong for your mom, okay? You've got a lot of living to do. Evan grinned shyly. Thank you, Mr. Jack. As Jack walked back to his van, the rain had stopped, and sunlight broke through the clouds. He realized that sometimes the biggest repairs a plumber could make had nothing to do with pipes at all. Sometimes, it was about fixing something far more important, the cracks in someone's life. And if you believe, like I do, that this world needs more people willing to stop and notice the pain in someone's eyes, then like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories. Because one small act of kindness can change the ending of someone's story, forever.